Hello, welcome to this week's Marketing Pod podcast. My name's Emma Crofts. Those who joined last week will know that I'm the head of content and PR here at the Marketing Pod. I am lucky enough this week to be joined by two of my fellow podsters, the brilliant Sara and Kate, and I will let them introduce themselves properly in just a moment. I am also going to ask them for one fun fact about themselves. Sorry, both. But to make it fair, I'll tell you mine. And that is that I am weirdly obsessed with birds of prey. A little bit strange, I know, but do with that what you will. So if I could just ask you both to say a quick hello.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Em, and thanks for having me on the podcast. This is my first ever podcast and I'm quite excited about it. So I'm Kate Garratt. I am the Director of Client Services at Pod, looking after all of our beautiful clients and helping them to achieve wonderful things with their marketing and communications. The fun fact was hard. I started doing this and thought, you know what, I'm quite a boring person. And then I decided to actually impart a life tip with you. So my fun / not so fun fact about myself is that I keep grab bags for one night stays, 1 week stays, wild camping stays, so I can just pack up in a nanosecond ready for any adventure.
You are ultimately prepared, like a really good girl guide.
Damn right. I was a seconder in the Brownies, which could have also been my fun fact. I was a pixie.
I like that. Sara, would you give us a little bit of info about yourself?
I can do. I don't know how to follow that, but I'm Sara Burgess. I'm a PR lead at the Pod. So I work very closely with you, Emma, and with Kate as well across a number of clients. Been doing this for more than 20 years, which will probably now massively age me. But in terms of a fun fact, again, a bit like Kate, I was like, oh, am I fun? I'm not sure. But before I did B2B PR, I used to do consumer PR before I saw the light and work with various celebrities. So if you ever watched a program called Big Chef, Little Chef with Heston Blumenthal going into a well-known motorway service station chain, you will see me lurking in the background being a PR person. So I soon sort of ditched that sort of in my life and found the light, I think, with B2B.
Fantastic. 5 minutes of fame.
Yeah.
You remember Big Chef, Little Chef.
There was lots of pausing it and making my family go, there I am. You can see like the back of my head.
Lovely. Thank you both so much. We'll sort of give a bit of an intro to the topic next. And people, again, who listened in last time will know that I promised an insight into what we get asked most in pitches. And perhaps also this is an opportunity for us to provide some helpful responses to those questions. No doubt we'll be covering some topics that will sound very familiar to anyone listening who works for a B2B marketing agency. It's perhaps also interesting information for anyone who is perhaps in the process of writing a request for a pitch or about to seek out an agency partner, thinking about the kind of questions they might ask themselves and perhaps able to compare to responses they've already heard. So again, if perhaps I could hand over to you, Kate, first of all. What's one thing that you're hearing perhaps time and time again? Obviously, pitches can mean kind of anything really, can't they? From informal conversations through to really formal face-to-face or online meetings with the C-suite.
Definitely. And there's a lot of commonality even between those informal conversations and the big RFP kind of beauty parades where you've got 20 agencies at the start and you're kind of whittling down to the final one. I'm not going to kind of start with the basics. I think most people who are going to be listening to this podcast will know that it's super important to ask an agency that you're approaching about what their approach to strategy is. How do they look at content planning? What's their approach when it comes to, say, social media auditing and all of those technical questions? I thought I'd actually start with some of the more interesting ones that we're being asked of late. So, for example, we're being asked now, and we love this question, about how do we manage our team? What's our well-being strategy? How do we make sure our crew don't get burnout? No client wants to work with an agency where that's sweating their assets. So it's really, we love kind of asking this question. And to be honest, we tell people about it even when they don't ask us the question. We've recently been revealed as the 14th best small company to work for in the UK as part of the Great Places to Work awards. And that's something that we hold very dear to our hearts because it's effectively coming from a decade now of building culture from the top, from just being good, kind people at our hearts.
Yeah, I think that's quite interesting because, as you say, you sort of get used to facing sort of the classics, like when you go to the pitch, you often get asked, is this the team that will be working on my account? And, by and large with Pod, yes, it is, because we are all, senior specialists. So the people that you see at the pitch are the people that will be working on your account. But I think it's a real sign of the times now that, and thank goodness it is, that it's not just, these are my people, that actually your culture and everything that goes on behind that team is becoming increasingly important to clients in terms of recognising who they want to work with. That yes, I'll get good work from senior people, but also knowing that those people are being well looked after.
What about from a PR specific sort of point of view? Are there any questions that you're hearing?
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously sort of all the usual ones. So, we get asked about journalist contacts. So clients, know that we understand their media, but that's almost, I suppose, kind of a given, really. And I think what's sort of interesting now is sort of the ever converging worlds of digital and PR in particular. So we're increasingly being asked from an SEO perspective about getting backlinks and coverage and how that works and things like that. So that's something, as I say, someone who's been in this business for 20 years, that wasn't happening, even that long ago. That's that sort of convergence of particularly SEO, digital and PR, and how they work together to achieve those sort of targets for clients. And there was probably a time when a lot of people sort of rolled their eyes at the thought of trying to get a backlink in, because does that sort of, lessen the editorial integrity of a piece. But I think a lot of publications now are very online based as well. That you're always seeing ones that, the print editions are being closed down and they're doing a lot more online. But it's about having that sort of strategy around there. So it's not about saying to a client that, yes, we can guarantee backlinks in every single piece of coverage. That just won't work at all. It's about having that strategic approach, understanding, how it will fit with the editorial objectives of that particular publication or that particular journalist standpoint on things. So that's been quite an interesting one that sort of is cropping up again and again in terms of how we are part of that sort of integrated approach between digital, SEO and PR, and how we all work together, definitely.
Yeah, we're very lucky, aren't we, again here at Pod, because we have got those digital experts to call upon. So even if we can't get that backlink in the place that the client wants it, we can obviously optimize the content in other ways. Kate, is there something you wanted to add?
Yeah, definitely into that, because I think it leads into one of my other biggies that comes up in lots of situations with prospective clients, and that is about Pod's centres of excellence and actually how we operate, because it's a non-traditional agency approach. So in another agency, you might get your account executive and your account manager and your account director, and they might be actually executing a lot of the work for you. Whereas Pod, our account directors are very much in the heart. They're like the hub, and the spokes go out of that hub to get the work done into our centres of excellence. So we're kind of, my team sit in the middle, sort of juggling, and we're funneling that work through the 5 different centres of excellence of strategy, digital, creative, content, and PR. And I think that's one of the kind of most beautiful things about the team at Pod, is this integration between the centres of excellence. So you've now got in-house team, particularly at that enterprise level, I find, where they're just happy not to be managing 5, 6 different agencies, because they need the kind of, they've got, okay, we found that this company does PR quite well, and then we found that this company can do really great API integrations, but it's fine, come to Pod and we can do all of it. And that is one of the questions that I do tend to get asked a lot, because even if we get someone that might come for a PR retainer, or they might come just for some paid social optimization, that's where they start, but then they usually find there's something else that they want as well.
It's a great point of differentiation, as well, as you say, that it may start off as a PR pitch, but as you say, PR now is so integrated into everything else in terms of audiences and channels, that PR is not just getting piece of coverage anymore. It's how it integrates with social and content and all those kinds of things. And that's where we can come in and say, well, we do all of that as well. And if you really want to make your PR campaign sing, we can add all of our centres of excellence.
Perfect place for me to do a shameless plug for Kate's blog, which I believe has recently gone live, on what it's like to be the glue that holds it all together. So yeah, you can find that on our website at marketingpod.com and across our social channels.
Blog was beautifully supported in writing, so I may have given the content ideas for it. Wonderful content, team.
We'd love to interview the experts and turn it into shareable content. Obviously, from a content perspective, the one question I'm getting asked time and time again is about AI and whether or not we're using ChatGPT or any of the other kind of platforms to create content. And it's a big no from us for quite a few reasons, which I won't go into depth about too much here, and I will be blogging about very soon. But really, obviously, to say that it's not just to do with the fact that, obviously we're dealing with very technical topics. Even if you spent the time properly setting the parameters for the AI to kind of go out and research it, they would never really do a nuanced enough job or address the concerns of a very specific audience. Obviously, there are privacy issues to consider. But the big answer that obviously we always give is about transparency. And if you are going to use it, whether it's just for kind of ideas generation or blog structure, that you need to be really, really transparent about that. And as I say, AI isn't just sort of influencing content, it's probably influencing every aspect of marketing and certainly web development and kind of automation and those kind of things. So we're going to try and do a more in-depth podcast on that one very, very soon.
It's super interesting kind of thinking about it from that perspective. And like from a content perspective, we can already see that there are too many flaws at the moment to make good use of it in a way that's going to be genuinely beneficial for our clients. But at the same time, we are a change progressive agency. So it is something that we are monitoring really closely to identify, are there things that are going to be really useful for our clients here? And also kind of, there's also where supporting our clients to implement AI where it is beneficial for them, particularly those clients that have got kind of really long and protracted user journeys and the user experience. There might be some elements of there. Now, it's all super embryonic, and I don't think there's any firm answers yet about kind of where we see the direction of AI in marketing. But if it's likely to have a role, I know that we're going to be at the forefront of what is right for our clients.
Yeah, once again, we've got those passionate people who are staying ahead of all of the latest trends. And like you say, if it's going to be doing our clients good, then we want to be getting on board with that. Absolutely. The capability is just going to be increasing exponentially, isn't it? So we definitely need to have our eyes on that. It just remains to say thank you so much for joining us, and thank you, Kate and Sara, for your valuable contributions to today's podcast. And I'll be grabbing some more of the team and some external experts over the coming weeks. So please do join us again. If there are any topics that you would like us to cover, get in touch. You can reach us on hello@marketingpod.com, and we'll hopefully see you again soon. Thanks, everyone.